Hi everyone, welcome back to Liz's Scrapping Studio. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. So I have a new project today. This is a little different. It is actually a card. As I've said before, cards are not my forte. It's not what I spend most of my time doing. But I did need a Father's Day card, and I had seen a lot of people doing these 3D boxes, and I thought I'd give myself a creative challenge to actually create a 3D box using Cricut Design Space and creating a Cricut file that I could use similar to what I had seen on a lot of other folks' channels, and then put my own little twist on it. And so that's what you see here. These are three of the ones that I've already made up as examples, and I was going to do a fourth one that was, again, a Father's Day theme. And so, again, these are boxes that are that can fold up and will fit into a standard A2 envelope. So you can see here that I've got this as a standard A2 envelope, and this will fit in there just perfectly. And then when you open it up, it has that 3D element of having some interactivity. And then on the back side, you can put a panel that you can write a message on if you want. So I have one that I did for retirement. Another one I did for Father's Day that was a fishing theme. So hopefully you guys can see all those little fishing elements. And then I did another one that was a teacher for the end of the school year. And I just did this cute little bouquet one as well. And what I realized is I didn't have a stamp set that was a teacher's theme stamp set. So as part of the Cricut Design Space file, I created these two sentiments that will use the pen option when you cut it out to actually write thank you to the best teacher ever. And so I had fun playing around with different themes and ideas. And I also decided I wanted to kind of look through my stamp sets to see what other things that I could come up with. So we're going to use trusty tools for the box that I'm going to create next. But I use the Gone Fishing, which has Happy Retirement and Happy Father's Day. It also has Glad That You're My Dad. Again, is another fun one. I thought this could be fun, maybe even as a teacher's thank you, to use the beach day, sending them off to the beach and using that. For the trusty tools, you could use the embossing folder to emboss some of these elements with the timber embossing folder. So that was another idea. And then I used Sentimental Park for the best teacher bouquet, essentially, for that one. This one also uses the in colors for 2024-2026. So I used the in colors for those. So those were the stamp sets that I was looking at. But I also knew that there would be other stamp sets that you might have in your stash, just like I do, from Close to My Heart or from other companies. And so the hole-in-one stamp set is how I got the card with the Happy Retirement. And I just mixed and matched the sentiments. If your husband is into motorbikes, dirt bikes, off-roading, things like that, this might be a great set from Close to My Heart, Where the Road Ends, that you could use as well on these boxes. Nailed It is a set that Close to My Heart had as well. So if you didn't have trusty tools, you could use Nailed It. And then I was also thinking about the fact that not all dads are into fishing or are DIYers or maybe even golf. So maybe you have a father who is more of a techie. I thought the beep, bop, beep, beep, boop, or beep, boop, beep, beep, boop is actually what it is, would be also a fun one for maybe a dad who was more into gaming or more into robotics or maybe a little bit more techie. And then there were some other sets that I found in the current catalog that I also thought would be really fun to try this with. So one of them was the Take to the Sky. So if you had the Take to the Sky, creating a card with the airplanes, I thought would be fun as well. So that could be another dad themed or graduation themed card that you could make. The cutest onesie bundle, this would be great for a baby shower. So again, could do that on this and turn it into a baby shower card. The other Father's Day set that is in the catalog is the Bistro Burger Bundle, which is Happy Father's Day. And so you could have some fun building the burger on this particular card. And then going back to some of these encore sets, if your dad or father or husband is into motorcycles, there's a great motorcycle set here as well. And then I think and then on this one, I thought the two peas or the sweet peas set would be fun. Again, maybe for a baby shower or a baby welcome baby card. I thought that would be good. So again, I think there's lots of creative ways that you can use this idea, use this pop-up box card that I've created, and again, makes it really kind of fun and dimensional and interactive. All right, so now that we've gone through the ideas and you can see, the different ways that they can be decorated, I'm going to put these off to the side, and we are going to work on building the Father's Day card that I was intending to show you. So again, I'm going to use trusty tools. I am using Close to My Heart cardstock. This is charcoal. And the reason I'm using this is that I had this Timeless Greetings card kit that kind of inspired me to do this. And the reason that inspired me is that it had this diamond plating what is this? This is a card front. That's what I was coming up with. This diamond plated card front. And I knew that I had this in this box, and I thought, my husband's toolbox on the back of his truck is diamond plated. And even though it's not silver like his truck, I thought that this would work really well and could marry with the tools in a very fun way. And so when I was looking at cardstock, I was looking at what would go well with it, and the charcoal cardstock was a good match. So I've got 4 panels that were part of that card kit, and I'm going to have to use 2 of those to make this work. So I'll have 2 left to make a standard card with, and then I have 2 panels that I need to cut to put on top of this this card box that we're creating. So the Cricut file comes with the piece with the score lines, and it comes with the pieces that fit in so that you can create the 3-dimensional components. It also comes with a piece that will cut out toppers here, as well as front panels for all of these. So again, there's quite a bit in this Cricut Design Space file. Now, if you don't have this and you like this idea, there is actually a embossing folder, which I do not have yet. And that embossing folder is right here. It's number 6 on the current catalog, which is called the Metal Plate 3D embossing folder. And essentially, this is the same thing. It is a diamond plating, and that will create the same sort of texture. And you could do that on the silver paper, or you could do it on a lighter gray paper and get the same effect. So that is some ideas again there. All right, so we're going to take this, and I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I do have score lines here, and we are going to go ahead and fold and get this box prepped. So when you're creating a box like this, you do need to use your bone folder to make sure that you get really good creases in these folds, so that the box will will hold its shape when you set it down, so that it's got a nice crisp fold. So I want the light side to show on this, and so I am folding towards the dark side because, again, I'm using close to my heart paper, and I want to make sure that I have the light side on the outside. Okay, so the dark side, all the things are folded towards that, and then this is going to assemble like this. But before I do that, I want to actually put on my pieces while it's flat, because it's a lot easier to do while it's flat. So I'm going to take this piece that I've already cut, and this is, again, that diamond plating, and I'm going to put that on what's going to be the front of the box here. And I did size this so that you do have a reveal all the way around. And then I need to cut this piece because I want to put pieces here on each end of the box, because, again, I'm trying to make it look like my husband's toolbox that is part of his work truck. And so I am looking for my little template here, because I sized this to cut on the Cricut Design Space file, and now I'm not seeing the size. That one's too big. That one's too big. Sorry, I'm going to try and find the right one. I've got lots of little pieces laying around. I think that's the one. Okay, yes, that's the one. So this piece is just over 1 1/8 by 2 1/8. So it's about 1 1/8 by 2 1/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to lay this out here. And I am going to, actually, I meant to do, what I wanted to do is I wanted to put this on the back side as well. So we're going to actually take this apart here. And I'm going to quickly grab my pencil because I do want to mark this. And this is going to be a little bit smaller. I'm going to try not to stick this down too hard so that I don't ruin it. And then I can put this one back. So essentially what I want to do is I want to have this diamond plating on both the back and the front. And so I just created some marks there. And then this, what's going to happen is that these pieces are going to be a little bit narrower because I can't quite get that full amount on it. So I'm actually going to mark this here. Try and make sure I'm straight. And hopefully I'm in camera. I'm going to come back up just in case I'm not in camera, because I feel like I'm a little bit low. So again, I've got some marks here that I'm going to cut against so that I can get these panels on. And so this back piece is just going to be a little bit smaller than the front piece because of the width of this particular paper. So what I'm trying to do is just find my marks. That looks good. Find my marks, and I'm going to do my cuts. And I will have some left over, but that's okay. All right, and then I need to do one more cut here. And I know it's kind of hard to see the pencil on the camera, but I can see it when I'm looking at it with my naked eye. All right, so now that I've got that cut, I can put this on the back. Like so. And again, you can put a piece on the back as well on top of this that you can write a note on it. If you were going to do that, I would probably, well, you could write the note on a separate piece of paper and then glue it to the back without any problem after the box is assembled. But it is easier to do all of this before the box actually gets put together. Okay, so this piece does not go here, because remember, this is the outside of the box. So I actually want this to go on the inside of the box, so that when I put it together, I have that diamond plating here as well. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the front here. And again, this will have a bit of a reveal. It's how I designed it, like that. And then from the trusty tools, I have stamped out on this piece of, I believe this is linen cardstock. This might be mink, but linen is possibly the cardstock. You're the Most Awesome. And I want that to go right here on the front. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add some adhesive to that. Now you could pop this up if you want using foam dots or dimensionals. That's up to you, but I'm going to just put it down just like that. Okay. All right. So now I've got these pieces done. The next piece that I need to do is I actually need to put on the front the dad part, because we don't have the dad. And so part of the trusty tools set, there is this die cut that actually creates this this piece here. So I thought that would be fun, again, to put here on the front, just like that. All right. So I did it in a couple of different colors. I wasn't sure which color I would want to use, so I did it in this is honey butter. This one is candy apple, and then again this one is the linen. And so I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, but since I did that linen color there, I think I'm going to do the same thing here, but I think I'm going to stamp it in red. Okay, and that way I think it will show up really, really nicely. But again, you can play around with the colors as much as you want. All right, so opening up my stamps here, I'm going to grab the dad, and we're going to put that on a block. No, I do not have a block out. Just double checking. They didn't have one sitting on my desk. All right, so I'm going to just put this on a block. Now this is a solid stamp. So this stamp is got a lot of surface area compared to the line stamps that I've used in the past. And someone recommended on one of the comments that I get the piercing pad for solid stamps. So this works a lot like the Close to My Heart foam does, that's on the back of the Versamats, or that we got in our packaging with our stamp sets as Close to My Heart customers and makers. So this works the same way. I do find that the size of this is not ideal for me. I've got to play around with it a little bit more and see if I like it. I may end up reverting back to just going to the backside of my Versamat and holding onto my Versamat for a while. All right, so I'm going to grab my candy apple, and I'm going to ink up this stamp. So again, when you're using Close to My Heart pads, you do have to do the tap, tap, twist, twist, which I showed you in a previous video. We didn't have to do as much pressing with the Stampin' Up pads, because they're super juicy when you get them, and so they don't necessarily need as much pressure as we have to use with our pads, even when they are new, or with the Close to My Heart pads when they are new. All right, so you might see my head because I'm trying to make sure that I get all of the dad onto this piece. Okay. So my red has oxidized a little bit, which is very typical, which is why you might have seen sort of the gold shimmering on the front, but that's very typical of reds. I haven't noticed. We'll see if there is an issue with it when I lift it up here. Again, I'm giving it a lot of pressure, and I'm giving it time to soak in to that. So there's the dad. I didn't get even as coverage as I might have liked in another situation, but I also think that looks fine, considering that this is going to be a card that's a card that is a tools card, and so that sort of rough look, I think, actually is okay. Doesn't bother me that much. But if I had done it on a stamping platform, I might have been able to go back and do that again. So again, just think about that. Okay, so I'm just tapping this off so that I can keep my desk clean. And I'm going to just put this back before I lose track of it, potentially. Back on its case. Okay, so now that we've done that stamping, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the front of my card here. And I am going to use some dimensionals for this to pop it up. So I'll probably use 3 or 4 of these just to give it some dimension. And we'll put that on as well. All right, so make sure we have it going the right direction. And we'll do our best to center it like that. And then we're good. Okay, so now at this point, we are ready to actually assemble the box. And so to do the assembly on this box, I am going to actually use score tape because I want it to be nice and sturdy, and make sure that there is no, that it doesn't come apart, right? Now, I haven't tried tear tape yet to see if it is strong enough for this. I'm using kind of what I already know. And I have this score tape, so we're going to go with that. All right, so we need to put the score tape not on the inside of this 1/4 inch flap here that you see here, this 1/4 inch overhang. You need to put it on the light side or the outside where you have all of your pieces, all your top pieces assembled, because this is going to go together like that. Okay, hopefully you can see that. That's going to fold in on itself and it's going to create that box. All right, so the other pieces here are going to be the inside pieces of this box. And we need to score these. We need to take those score lines and fold those as well. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my bone folder here, and we're going to do that. We're going to, there's a 1/4 or 1/2 inch score line at each one of these spots. And do the second one. Get that all done. All right. So in the inside, it doesn't matter which direction the flap goes in. You just need to choose one direction. So that's kind of what I've done here. So I'm going to put score tape on both of these flaps, and then we can assemble both the box and then put the inserts in the box. And more here. So hopefully, you're looking at this and saying, oh, this isn't that difficult. This is actually kind of fun and easy assembly. It's not a complicated little box by any imagination. It's really simple, and it can create some really fun dimension and interactivity when you present somebody with something like this. I think you'll see that they have a lot of fun with it. All right, so now that we've got the score tape on everything, we are going to assemble this. And what's important about the assembly is that when you assemble it flat. Okay, you don't assemble it like this. Okay, you assemble it flat. So I'm actually going to turn this over to the so that the front side is down. I'm going to remove the score tape carrier, and I'm going to bring the back side, holding that down, I'm going to line that up, and then I'm going to press it down. Okay, and then I'm probably going to go in with my bone folder, and again, I'm going to just make sure that that's really nicely secured. Okay, so what that means is now this is going to lie very flat when I put it into my card or into my envelope. This side will lie flat for a little while, but once we get the pieces in, it's not gonna lie nearly as flat. But this makes sure that we have a fairly flat card, not too much dimension when we try to put it in its envelope. All right, so now that we've got the card box done, we need to put these pieces in. So you're going to want to set it down on your work surface. You're going to take off the carrier sheets, and you want to make sure that you're square. Then you're going to make sure that these flaps are tucked in tight to each other, because if they're out, they're going to stick to the sides, and you want to slide this in, and then you want to adjust where you're putting it. You can kind of choose where you want. There's plenty of space in this box. You don't necessarily have to do it this way. But what I'm doing is I'm getting these little half-inch flaps as close to the front of the box as possible. Also, I just want to point out that the way I designed this is that these inserts are shorter than the front of this box. And I did that on purpose so that there was you could adjust easily the up and down, how many pieces you have, because I really wanted this sentiment to be seen. And if I had everything at the same heights, if I had these inserts at the same height, it was going to be more difficult to put in the pieces and have to adjust them fairly low within the box itself. So I'm going to take one side, and I'm making sure that I'm flat down on the board, and then I'm going to just bring up that flap to the front, and I'm going to then turn this, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to take that flap, and I'm going to get it as close to the front of that box as possible. So hopefully you can see that I've got that very close to the front. Then I'm going to flip the box over, and I'm going to make sure that that is also touching, so that the adhesive is now touching on both the top and the bottom. Then I'm going to come in with my bone folder, and I'm going to just burnish it on both sides. Okay, burnish it on both sides. And then I'm also going to fold it, and my dogs are going off, and I'm going to just put a little bit of burnishing. So again, because we've added some dimension, it's getting a little bit thicker, but it's still not too bad. All right, so now we're going to take the last two pieces off. And I apologize for my dogs barking. Again, I want to try and make sure that I'm as square as possible here. I'm making sure that my flaps are folded in. And then I'm going to come down. I'm going to put that piece in. And I'm going to use the 1/2 inch of that flap to create the space between these two inserts. So I'm getting a natural 1/2 inch gap between these two inserts by doing this. So I'm going to go this way because I can see better, I think. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, no one's going to know that you didn't get it exactly set. And again, you can see there's plenty of space back here. If you wanted to add a third one, you could certainly do that. All right, so then I'm going to come down to the bottom again. I'm going to touch the adhesive, and then use my bone folder to make sure that that is well seated. So then you can double check and make sure that everything is looking square and good. And if you fold it, again, pretty darn flat. Pretty darn flat. Okay, so that is the assembly of that box. So now we have to decorate it. So now we're going to add the tools that are going to go into this box. And what I have done is I have already stamped these tools and done some coloring on them and decided which ones I sort of wanted to have. But what I wanted to talk about is some differences between how close to my heart's dies worked versus how Stampin' Up! Dies work. When I was practicing and trying to get things lined up, it was pretty hard to get things lined up well, because there is a very small reveal that Close to My Heart, or that Stampin' Up! Has on their dies. Their dies are much tighter to the stamp than Close to My Heart's dies were. If you take a look at the die set for the golf, you can see there's a pretty sizable white border around this golfer, or around these tees, or not tees, golf clubs. So one of the struggles I had was if I die cut this and then tried to stamp it, I was having a real hard time lining things up and getting it to not have this unbalanced white edge. So one of the tricks that I found, actually my upline for Stampin' Up! Came up with this, is to create these, I don't know what you want to call them, create these pieces that the die is attached to a darker piece of cardstock that you've already die cut out. And then you create a hinge, essentially. And that hinge has a piece of washi tape that attaches the die to this base card, attaches to the actual cardstock, and then overruns on both ends so that it would go onto your white piece and then go onto your mat. So, and what she did is she said, you're creating this hinge, just like that. And by doing that, then once you've stamped and done your coloring or whatever you want to do, you can come in, and hopefully everybody can see this. You can adjust using this die cut being already, out. You can maneuver this piece so that you have the right reveal, or at least a much closer version of the reveal of that white. And then you come back down and you make sure that washi tape is sitting on top of your colored piece, or the piece that you're wanting to die cut out. So again, I can show you that again. So then again, we've got this paintbrush, and I'm going to go ahead and lift the washi tape off of this paintbrush. I've got my mask, or my die template, and I'm going to go ahead and then lift that up. And then I'm going to lay this down, and I'm going to put this where I have a reveal that I think is reasonable. And then I'm going to bring this back down, put it back in there, and put the washi tape down. So again, same thing with this one. Same idea. Take my pre-die cut. I'm going to line all of that up. Then I'm going to bring this back down, and I am going to make sure that the washi tape is sticking to the white paper, is sticking to the die cut shape, the paper that the die was cut out of, and then have a little bit of an overhang. And when I do that, you can see on this small pencil how clean that line is. If I did this freehand, the line would not be nearly as clean. The white outline would not be nearly as clean on this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and die cut these out, and then we're going to come back and do the final assembly. All right, so I've got these die cut out, and so what I wanted to show you was that difference. So this is the one where I had die cut first and then tried to stamp, and this one is where I actually stamped, and then I did that die cut using that mask or using that template. And so you can see much cleaner as far as the white goes. I got a little bit off over here on the right-hand side of the tape measure. I might have shifted a little bit. I might not have anchored it well. But again, overall, I think that the overall outcome of this one was much better. All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was that this stamp set has quite a few dies. And you can use the hammerhead die here to create a silver head. And there are like lots of other options, like the wrench here you can also do in silver. You could do these little plier tops as silver. You've got, again, some of the nuts and bolts and screws that you can do as silver. Or you could do it in a gray paper, and you can see I've got a lot of cutouts here that I've been playing around with, so that you can kind of see that there's options that you can play with. This is an example of a silver head. I decided I didn't particularly like that. I liked having the details of the stamp, and I didn't have any stars on to make sure that this did not smudge. So I'm going to go ahead and go with this just discoloring. Now, if you have a silver pen, you could also color this in with silver pen. I did do that. I had some examples of that. Let's see if I have them handy. Not seeing them handy in my little tin here, but you can do silver. Again, this one I did with this is the silver. So this is using the silver pen. So because it's opaque, it's going to cover up some of those lines, but that is an option. The other option is I actually just use my tri-blend markers, and I use the ice gray blend to color in this hammer. So again, there's lots of options here. It's really easy to color these in. So it's just a matter of taking the color. This is the light side of that tri-blend marker. And you can use any sort of gray marker, and then you can come in and do some highlights with the darker color of the tri-blends. So again, that's simple coloring. Again, you could do the same thing here with this tape measure. Give it a little bit more dimension so that you don't just have the yellow body. Come in and then give it some of that silver look, silver gray look, and then you can again color in the body over here. So again, super simple coloring with these guys. You could just leave it white as well. No one says you have to do that coloring. And then I'm going to do that. And I don't know if I've got the right color yellow, but let's go ahead. Let's test that. That might work. Go ahead and color that in. It's a little bit darker. So I might just go in and fill in a little bit here where I was off a little bit, just to tie that in. Come here. The one thing about having these lines is you kind of know where the shading needs to go. Okay, so that was gold brown blend that I used on that one. All right, so now I've got a couple of different things. I do have a pair of those pliers that was colored with the gold or the silver ingot, I think, metallic marker. So um, so there. Okay. So now I think we've got a good good grouping of items, and now we're going to start filling in these items into this this box. I am going to go ahead and use the dimensionals again for these. So I'm going to start with the bigger pieces. I'm going to start with the hammer and uh, the uh, paintbrush, because I want to make sure that where I'm placing these, I am not covering up "You're the most awesome." Okay. I don't want that to be hidden. And so I need to put in the bigger pieces, or the pieces that are going to be the longest, so that they're placed in a way where you can see that phrase, and that they're not too tall that they won't fit into the envelope, right? So that's the other thing, is that this needs to fit into that envelope. And so I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to that. All right, so I like the placement of that one. And I'm just using one foam dimensional dot. I'm not using like a whole bunch of them here. Okay, so then that one I put on the back piece. This one I'm going to put on the front. I'm actually going to move that dot down just a tad, so I can have this sticking up just a little bit higher. Okay, so I like the placement of that. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab these other pieces. This wrench is pretty long, so I'm going to go ahead and place that one next. That needs to go down just a smidge. Okay, so I like that. Then we're going to take the pliers here, and we're probably going to cut this dimensional because I think I need it on the actual handles here. And I did try to play around with color a little bit with the yellows and reds and things, colors that a lot of these tools show up as in my husband's toolbox. So just trying to see, no, this I think needs to move over a little bit. Yeah, we may not get that chance. I may have stuck it down too hard. Trying to lift this up gently so I can move it. There we go. Whoops. Okay, I think I like it there. All right, and then we've got our tape measure here. We're going to go ahead and put that into the front. So I've got 2 in the back, and then I've got these 3 in the front. And this, I'm going to move this dimensional down to the bottom so it's a little bit higher up. And I think I want that in front, like that. Oops. Okay. So I think that looks good. Then I've got 2 pencils here, and these I'm actually going to put on the front. And I'm going to try and pop these guys up. So I'm going to just cut these and put slivers of this dimensional in a couple of places. And then I'm just seeing if I have another, just looking to see if I have anything else that I've cut out that I might want to use. And I think I've used everything that I've cut out. And I think the other ones, okay, so we're going to do it like this. All right, so this one we're going to lay flat. Like this. And then this other one, we're going to pop up. So I just cut one dimensional into multiple pieces, or yeah. And then, so I can create some dimension. And we're going to just crisscross these guys. Like that. All right. So when I lay this flat, all of the pieces are pretty flat. It's a pretty, hopefully you guys can see that. It's a pretty flat card. And then when I pop it up, I've got all of those great tools, and I can still see, for the most part, you're the most awesome. I'm not hiding it too much. Okay. All right. So there's one last thing that I wanted to do to make this feel more realistic. And this is also part of the Cricut design space file. So what these are on the sides of my husband's toolbox are these red buttons that open up the toolbox essentially. And so I really wanted to have those on the sides of my box to mimic that toolbox. And so I'm going to put these, they're towards the front of the box. And so I want to add these to the sides, just like would be on that toolbox. And again, the line that's on these pieces, these two little circles that are square, is a draw feature using the pen, again, similar to the other one. So hopefully I got those fairly even on both sides. And now I have my final box. So when it's going to go into the card, it's going to go in like this. And again, just bringing the envelope back in, you can see that we have plenty of room for all of it. And then when it gets opened, you have this three-dimensional card. And then on the back, if you wanted, you can have you can put another piece here like this, or a smaller piece even, to write your sentiment or anything that you want to write on it. All right. Well, hopefully this was something that you can recreate yourself and that you had some fun watching. If you like the video, feel free to hit the like button. Give me a comment if this was something that you had fun watching or doing, and if it's something you'd like for me to do in the future. And I would love to have you as a subscriber. We have a few new subscribers to the channel that happened this week, and I certainly do appreciate any subscriber. I know that you have lots of people to subscribe to, and I do truly appreciate when you hit the subscribe button for me. All right, everyone, have a great day. I'll see you on the next video.